1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. We've got Jesse Sanchez over there, and a lot of things are happening in the world. As you may know, there is a war, and the war is already here in many ways. A lot of people are considering what they're going to do next. People are wondering what they're going to do in the days ahead. And people are just wondering what is going on with the rest of the world. Is it as bad as it seems? And the answer is, well, that depends on your perspective. If you're in Russia, you're already determining whether or not you're going to be happy for the next few weeks, next couple of weeks, I would say, because you're unable to get the majority of your money. But having said that, China may be able to profit from it because they have their own banking system, which they may be opening up to Russia, which may allow for Russians to actually be able to get their money through that system. So already there are ties happening. And international ties are happening in really weird ways. And Jesse, you know how you said during the Olympics you were kind of like on the fence of whether or not Russia would invade during the Olympics?
Oh yeah, I said it would be pretty disrespectful to attack during the Olympics. Most likely they would wait till like it's over or it's close to being over, which they actually did.
They actually did. Yeah, they waited. And I said I didn't think they were going to, but well, here's what I didn't know, which is now public news. China asked him not to. So so at the end of the day, it's like what does China know that he's not letting us know about, right? So that's kind of the question. I don't know what's going on there, but here's what I do know. We have to be very, very aware of things, be aware of how things are going, and be aware of how things might get in a certain amount of weeks. Already there's a lot of news that I know a lot of people are watching, and a lot of it's really sad, especially for the people in Ukraine and those even fleeing and getting to safer areas known as Poland. A lot of people know Poland is the next location next door. It's like if you and I were to all of a sudden kind of go well, let's say we're in California, right, Jesse? But we want to, somebody's invading from, let's just say Mexico invades us, right? And then where would we go? We would go, hopefully, north, right? It would be kind of dumb to go east, so we'd have to go north, right? So wherever north is, we would try to get there in order to be safe, right? That's if we didn't want to stay and fight, or if we wanted to save our moms, our kids, our children, our nephews, our nieces, right? So you kind of have to put yourself in that perspective of understanding what the people are having to deal with. Because I feel sometimes when news gets really big and really pronounced, sometimes in certain areas it isn't that pronounced after some time because people are just hearing it again and again and again. But you don't have to live it, right? Kind of like Afghanistan. Nobody talks about Afghanistan anymore until you look at the news in Afghanistan and you see the kids that are malnourished and skeletons. Then you go, whoa, what happened just within a few months, right? And then why did we give up to the Taliban? Why did we do this? So that's news that's still there, but nobody's really speaking about it, and we should, right? Because they are what Ukraine will be in the next few months. And that's the sad, sad, sad fact. That's why some Ukrainians are like, yeah, thank you for giving us knowledge about where we're at and speaking about us and the way that you're doing, but please kind of show support by actually doing something, right? And I know a lot of people are sending support financially. Some are sending support through other means. Others are sending as much support as they can. But so far, I have yet to see actual military support from the U.S. in that we're helping them fight back. Do you understand? All I'm seeing is, we're sanctioning them. Well, what's that doing for the people in Ukraine while they're getting invaded, while the tanks are moving in? That does nothing. So that's where we're at right now. And I get it. Some are going to be like, well, those Americans. I say, well, that's not all Americans. That's just the administration. They're the ones responsible. And I know a lot of people would send, and I know people will send when they go next level and they say, hey, we need more soldiers. There's already soldiers in Poland, and there are other soldiers being sent out as we speak. There's soldiers in the waters in the areas as well, and everybody's kind of like on high alert right now. So obviously, there's a lot going on. It's not just the situation with Ukraine, and what I mean by that is it's the beginning of more to come in the coming weeks. That's what we have to be aware of. Okay, we know it's in Ukraine, and we kind of say in the States here, well, it's happening over there, but it's going to impact all of us everywhere at some point because, again, this is a world war happening. People are already starting to kind of put their, I guess you would call it their bets in with certain areas. For example, there's this article on how the war in Ukraine could take a horrible turn. And these are analysts that know these things and they know where it's going based on past and future perspectives of areas, right? And this is a very common scene that you will see in certain areas, but this can only last for so long, where you have people, unfortunately, that like this young lady that I'm showing here on our live feed, and you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter TV. And this is a very common thing that you're starting to see of people that actually have homes, but they're already going down the way of homeless. So those in Poland, I hope, have a ability to house 1 million plus people, which are already fleeing there, and I hope they can help everybody out. Now, I know a lot of those are going to want to come to the U.S. as well. Some of them have family members here in the U.S. I've met a few already. And I hope, you know, the one that I met recently as of last week when I traveled to Texas, her mother, who is in Ukraine, hopefully made it out and hopefully will come to the States. But this is what we're going to have to see in very, 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 in the very next few weeks. Now, the statement by this article is very telling because at the end of it all, it's talking about there are certain things that Russia wants, there's certain things that others want, and there's certain things that Ukraine wants. Ukraine just wants to be free. Ukraine recently, and I know you've been doing the research, right, Jesse, on how Ukraine wants to be part of European kind of status, if that makes sense, or European Union to be able to be protected. What are you seeing over there, Jesse?
Yeah, no, even if they join the European Union, I don't even, it's not going to help. Unless they're going to send a military force, but I doubt it'll do anything.
Well, that's really what
Like
they're
the only
asking
way
for.
that
At the end of the day, they want protection, and that's what I'm
yeah,
saying. They're not really
joining the
getting.
EU is not going
Well,
to. Yeah, they'll probably just send troops, stuff, oh,
well, Europe is
supply.
very, very, very. Look, Europe is when you think of. I mean, I know that whole little divide that they had and all that kind of confuses everybody, but um, Europe is, in all essence, a very high military support. All right, they're big in the ocean and they're big in the air, and they're very big on land. Okay, the European Union, if they actually do say, yeah, okay, you're part of us now, that helps broaden Europe, but it puts them in a position of now we're at war. And that's what they're debating. Do they want that? Do they not want that, right? They feel, and I say you better be careful about this, they feel, at least from what I can acknowledge right now, they feel that this is only going to be a Ukraine thing. It's not going to be just a Ukraine thing. It's going to be a Ukraine thing and then a Poland thing. Then it's going to branch off further, further, further. This is their way to invade not just Ukraine, but others as well. And if you were aware of it, Europe, then you'd be ahead of it. That's what France is ahead of. France is sending military support to Poland to create a barrier already because they see it as, hey, land-wise, you're going to branch further, 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 further down southwest. And if you see it that way, then you understand why Belarus is in on this and why Belarus is one of the areas that actually, well, this is the part where I'm gonna kind of find some oddness in this. And this is the one which I don't know if you guys saw this, but the UN resolution condemning Russia. Okay, there was a huge vote, right? And it means things, although it's hard to determine what that means. But it's saying how bad is Russia? Do we all agree? And does that mean that we're going to take the necessary steps to do what we need to do next? So the majority actually voted against Russia, condemning them. All right, this is again the UN. Now, in the countries that voted, there were 141 countries voting in favor. There were 34 abstaining, which I would also look at that. I'm like, why would you not vote for it? It's either yay or nay. And then obviously 5 voting against. In other words, no, we defend Russia. Okay, these are the friends of Russia, I can guarantee you. The no votes on the resolution came from 5 authoritarian nations. Russia had their own votes, so that was obviously niet. So they were like, not going to happen. We're not going to vote against ourselves. So that was kind of a smart vote. It would have been better for just one vote like that. North Korea, yeah, like we said, Jesse, told you, right? What did we say about North Korea?
Right? They're gonna be like, "Oh, we're friends now."
Yeah, exactly. Uh, we didn't vote against you. Can we team up? Yay. Eritrea, I don't even know where that's at. Syria, and then the now known ally, Belarus. The guy that we saw today kind of heading off all of the, yeah, this is what we're doing. Yeah, let's get on with this. Yeah. That guy. So that's the problem of the day. That's what we're seeing around the world. We're starting to see people hedge their bets. That's the guy that is next in question. All right, so anyone to the west of him, he's probably going to want to invade. He just wants more land, and obviously he wants to feed his belly, as you can see there. So at the end of the day, you got some really bad people wanting to rule a good portion of territory. Do they want to rule the world? No. They just want to rule these areas, and that's the problem. Okay, so that's what we're going to see in the next days ahead. And I say always keep aware of it, keep alert of it, and don't let yourself get exhausted from the news about the war. Because if and when it happens in a really bad way and it branches out, we need to be aware of it. Okay, already you're going to start seeing some people start to get more stressed out than normal, especially if they have family in Ukraine. But if they're Russian, they're already stressed out here in on the home front. I have Russian friends, and I would never blame them for this war ever because I know them personally. Now, I'm not saying opinions might be not different, but I wouldn't be like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. If you're suffering and or starving, I'm not going to open my home to you. I wouldn't be like that. I have good friends that are Russian, like I say. Doesn't mean I take their side. I also have friends that are Ukrainian, right? I have very good friends that are from Ukraine. I have one who actually married a guy, and she 100% knows her family is there in Ukraine. You know, so she's wondering what they're going to do. And he met her in Ukraine. So, you know, what do you do with that, Jesse? I don't really know, but I do know you have to be careful as a people. When you go out, you should be careful anyway. There's more crime than ever, and we have to worry about that. Now, on the home front, we have our financials to worry about, right? So don't get so consumed with other things to not remember your own financials. And that's what we're having to deal with here recently. So I hope, you know, certain governors understand that. We're not out of the woods when it comes to coronavirus. That's why I feel some people got kind of like a mixed message when Biden spoke about coronavirus. But you have to remember what he says. He's not responsible for variants, and variants are already here. OM1, OM2, OM3, OM4 are already here. Okay, so that means worse sickness. That's as plain as I can give it. All right, so just because it's named coronavirus, it might not be alpha, it may not be delta. Boy, I just confused too. It might not be alpha, it may not be beta, it might be delta, it might be delta plus, it could be, what are the other ones, Jesse?
To be honest, I have no idea anymore. I'm just gonna start naming off Greek letters and alphabets. So I'm gonna be like Alpha Pi Beta.
Yeah, Lambda. There's Lambda. That's the one that you were concerned about. There's
Macron.
Mu, Mu. But you know, at the same time, we're getting tests, and the tests don't tell you which one they are. So that is going to be the next thing. And I wish it would just do coronavirus A, B, or C, or coronavirus 1, 2, or 3. You know what I mean? Then it would make more sense. Kind of like, again, I keep saying this, hepatitis. Hepatitis, you know, there's A, B, and C. Even though they all sound the same, they're completely different. Even HIV has different versions are there as well. So you treat them differently. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. We gotta, stay as positive as possible going into the weekend. Obviously, we have to stay very much aware of the world events, obviously, and we have to be very, very, very aware of where we are in the stream of time. When we're doing all those things, then we'll be ahead of things. Then we can, offer each other support, be safe while doing so, and figure out how to make money in the meantime, right? Because that's kind of the next thing, which I do want to say we're probably going to resurrect a new show, which we've done in the past. It's called 2 Men in Your Business, and I did speak to somebody who actually has some really good ideas as well, and how we can get businesses up and running with good ideas and or special ideas, especially using online features, because as what I've seen lately, I've seen kind of people go more of the federal way because of the Biden kind of administration say we got to get back to work. Well, we've already been working, but we've been doing so safely and smartly using virtual means, right, Jesse? So I know we've done it well before we had to do it, but other areas like I think Google are requiring people to come back, I think in June or July. Can't remember, but I'm like, why are you doing that now when people are still getting coronavirus, people are still dying? I do expect more surges ahead because now with no one wearing any face masks, there's no obvious, like, I'm not saying it's the number one thing, but let's put it this way, it reduces. Okay, let me put it this way: if you have a home, are you going to want to lock it even though you feel safe in the area?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Are you going to want to, I don't know, put the drapes down so that the sun doesn't come in during the heat of the day?
Yes, that's the reason why we have drapes.
Yeah, but it still comes through the walls.
Yeah. We have shades.
Okay, so, but you get what I'm saying? So my point is this. It may not be the end-all be-all, but it's a nice little portion to help protect your home by locking the door. Not saying they won't break in through the back or break in through the window, but it's a good deterrent. And that's what I say face masks are. That's all I'm going to say about that. I don't want to get people upset and or mad or angry about it. I'm just saying I'm still going to wear mine, whether you do or don't. Take advantage of the fact that the prices will probably be pretty affordable for people that don't get face masks anymore. And get a UV light. It's worth it. All right, then you won't be so afraid of it. All right, people, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with more right after these messages. Stay tuned.
For all you truck and RV enthusiasts, TruckWorks right here in Banning is your one-stop shop for the best diesel performance and overall truck and RV needs. Whether you're towing, racing, off-road, or just cruising around town, TruckWorks specializes in truck and RV service, maintenance, repair, and performance upgrades for every light and medium-duty truck manufacturer. Bring it down to Terry and the guys at TruckWorks. Call 951-922-4776 or visit their website at mydieseldown.com today.
Hey, Mark's here. We want people should know about the new Italian radio show on KMET. Like my Uncle Vinny used to say, Gumbas non stunad.
Yes, Daddy, there is no such words in Italian.
Forget about it. Tell them about the show.
The Italian Radio Show, presented by West Coast Italian Radio.
Mondays at 4 p.m. on KMET 1490 or stream us live 24/7 from our website at WCIR.biz.
Make sure to tune in.
You don't want that we should have to tell you twice.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS or state? Did you miss sending out a prior year tax return? The IRS is out to collect now more than ever, and they'll use any means necessary. They legally can and will garnish your wages, take your money, and even seize your property. If you're behind on your taxes, call the Tax Relief Hotline right now at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000. You can legally get your tax debt under control, and in many cases, get the breathing room you need. Garnished wages, property seizures, bank levies can stop immediately, but you have to call. Many of our specialists are IRS enrolled agents. They know the system and how to make it work for you. Don't wait for the IRS to come down on you. Act now so you can get your tax debt under control. Call the Riverside office today for free info at 951-224-9000. That's 951-224-9000. 951-224-9000.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the number one choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
That's right. It's a morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Apologize for that little delay. I was doing some research right now, which I'm actually seeing, which is not good, actually. Ukraine claims to have raised their flag over the town outside Kiev. Ukraine claimed to have raised its flag over the town of Bucha, close to the Ukrainian capital, where some of the most intense fighting has taken place in recent days, and where Russia's push south on Kiev appears to have stalled. Video posted on the Facebook page of the Ukrainian Armed Forces ground troops shows soldiers hoisting the national flag outside the town hall. The town is just a few miles north of the edge of Kiev and about 15 miles from the center of the capital. That's not good, Jesse. That's one of those things where now Russia is claiming they are the now ruling nation of Ukraine. That is not good.
As long as the President Zelensky is okay, the people will keep fighting.
Yeah, and I think there was a assassination attempt 2 days ago against his life. They didn't get him, thankfully, but that is what is happening right now. So they're definitely doing military things. This is a typical military thing that happens when you want to invade a country and take it over, and that's exactly what's happening. So I know people are for the people for Ukraine, and I get that, but what you need to understand is, Jesse, if you and I were fighting with our mothers, right, and we gave them guns and we said, hey, let's defend Moreno Valley and LA, do you think we would want help from the outside world?
Wait. Okay, give me my mom a gun is a bad thing, but okay. So what do you mean?
Somehow I believe you, man. Somehow I believe you. What I'm saying is we ask our own family members to fight with us to protect our homeland, right? Our own neighborhoods, right? Because they're starting to invade, right? We would hope that surrounding areas would say, hey, we're going to give you some tanks, we're going to give you some air support, we're going to give you some military people that actually know what they're doing, right? I would not want my mom to pick up a gun. She would never do it. I already know her. But I'm just saying, it's one of those things that Ukraine is in and people don't understand it. It's like they're talking about it, but they're talking about it wrong. You shouldn't have grandmas picking up guns, trying to shoot. They're not trained. They're not trained to run. They're not trained to battle. They're not trained. This is what, some of the men there are doing, but they don't have enough men to support. So that's what they need support, which is why they're going to have more flags like this raised. It is a thing of we took over your area. That is it. So the people that have to stay or are staying or bunkering down are unfortunately going to be having to do whatever Russia troops tell them to do. And there's not going to be any order there. People don't understand the chaos that happens in between until there is order. There's no order in a war nation. There's rapes. There's people suffering. There's people being beaten down. There's people saying, that's my wife now, not yours. Soldiers go next level when they take over a territory. And that's where we're at. So if you have family there, tell them to get out of town. Don't fight. Don't do the worst part, which is staying when they're going to overcome you and you're going to be dead in the next few weeks, and or raped, and or plummeted, and or robbed, and or any of those things. It doesn't make sense. Be like those that have fled already and flee. Then get your forces back together with Poland. When you're together with Poland, then you could fight. Then you could regroup. You need to regroup because right now you're getting scattered. Everybody's getting scattered. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. It's sad to say this. It really is. Let's go to social media. Let's break it up a little. Mark Blevin says, pray for Ukraine. Stand with Ukraine. Exactly. That's my point. Stephanie Reed says, hello, happy editing and onset of a commercial and product shoot for this glorious, awesome, snowy sunshine. Busy day ahead for today. Yeah, she's working on her work. Good job. Cynthia Sala says, good morning. Good morning. Candice Bowen is tuning in. Thank you, Candice. Let's see. Mark says, Zelensky says 16,000 foreigners have volunteered to fight for Ukraine against Russian invasion. Yes, exactly. Beatrix Logan is tuning in. Thank you. Rosalie Huertas says, hello. Happy Friday Eve. Make today amazing. Be a better human today. Exactly. I agree. Let's see. Stephanie says, I know a church in Parma, Ohio is sending food. That's in her neck of the woods. And supplies to Ukraine. Seen it on Fox 8 Cleveland News station last night. And that's very, very true. And that's exactly what's happening. Jesse Jacobson tuning in. Thank you. If you want to just hit the share button and or retweet button and let people know we're watching each other's stuff around the world. And if anything, know that we're all still alive, right? Look, in the days coming up very soon, we're going to see a lot of problems in the world. We're already seeing them, all right? And Biden did, whether you watched the address or not, talked about basically four things. One, financials. One, coronavirus. Three, financials, coronavirus, the war, which we're heading into. And there was a fourth one. I can't remember it, though. But basically, get the nation back to where it was. Yeah, there's that. Now, in order to do that, you got to think about the families first. In order to think about the families first, you got to keep them safe first. If they're dying in mass quantities, there's going to be problems with that. Oh, inflation. That's what it was. Inflation. Yeah, inflation never goes down. It only goes up. The only way to get that in a good way is to bring everything up in a good way. Numbers are way too high. And the minimum pay wage just doesn't cut that even, especially because we're way too high. People have not done the research, but if you've been paying more than you have as of the last 2 years, and you do the math and you do your own tally, you'll say, where did the money go? If you're still making the same amount of money, then there you go. If you're making a better money now and you're not out of a job, well, then you're ahead of it. But I say save your money, right? Especially in the days ahead. Because when you have war happening in another country, it's going to affect those here in the States. Maybe not in the next few days, but definitely the next few weeks. Definitely the next few months. So that's where we're at as a nation. That's where we're at as a people, and that's what we're going to have to honestly deal with in the next few months. All right, so be aware of it, be alert of it, and then do what you can to keep your own family safe, right? So that's what I'm going to say on it. Jesse, you're looking at something. What's going on over there?
Yeah, actually, this took it didn't take that long for this story to come out, and I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Apparently, a Russian businessman offered a bounty on Vladimir Putin.
How much did he offer?
He offered $1 million to an officer who can arrest Putin for war crimes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I can see that happening. I can see it happening. Yeah, he already doesn't like to have people right next to him, and I don't know if you've seen it, but in all of the photos that you see, whenever they're having a discussion, it's like a huge long table of 80 chairs, and you're at the opposite end speaking to him can I get close? No, stay over there. Okay. So I think that's what's happening in the next few weeks and few months. He's not going to be the sought after person to just get rid of. It's sad but true. But, you made yourself an enemy of basically almost the world. Back to the UN's resolve. Go ahead, Jesse.
If there's one thing that Vladimir Putin has done, he has united the world against himself.
Yeah, it's true. It's 100% true.
I've yet to see one person who is for Russia unless they listen to their propaganda and don't listen to anything else. But yeah, no, he pretty much united the world behind Ukraine. Hopefully we can do stuff, but obviously we can't because of laws and rules and stuff for engagement of war. So, yeah.
Yeah, look, he's officially going to have a hard time ever recouping whatever he thought people thought of him before. And I know because we've talked to both Russians, Ukrainians, and others who had their own stance about him, saying he's kind of outlived his purpose. We didn't vote for him. We didn't elect him. It was done in a really bad way. We're ready to move on. We didn't want him. And now he's kind of proving true to that. It's sad, but true. Now, I will say this. Just because you take him out doesn't mean he doesn't have like 3 or 4 generals that are wanting his position and or to do certain things. So you got to look at his very, very top guys as well. Because it's not just he. It's them too. And so whoever he associates with most that you see, and usually the photos, those are the ones I would say. If you're going to put a bounty on those guys. All right, people, we're going to take a quick little break. We got more right after these messages. Shout outs as well. Keep it coming. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'll be right back with more right after these messages.
Staff and families at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers. Take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
When it comes to health and well-being, cellular hydration is the key. You could say that hydration is the key to every wellness program. And structured water in its natural state, is the key to cellular hydration. Most of the water available to us has been processed for purity, safety, and convenience. But processing causes water to lose its natural hexagonal structure, with unfortunate effects for our bodies. Now you can take your personal hydration to a whole new level with the glassware that restructures water in just 3 minutes. Golden Ratio Products brings you these amazing water bottles, carafes, and drinking glasses which put the life back into the water you drink. Try it and you'll be amazed at the effects you feel in your body. Go to goldenratioproducts.com for the next phase of your water consciousness.
Standard time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit to get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just go to 12ignoremyscore.com right now. That's www.12ignoremyscore.com. Auto financing the easy way. 12ignoremyscore.com. Get started today. Auto financing the easy way.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. Janet Witters is tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Rosalie's tuning in from well, you know what? I was gonna say Downey. I don't know if she's because she was up north, wasn't she? Stephanie Reed tuning in from Ohio.
She's in like the Fresno area.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay, Fresno. Yeah. See, we travel with you. There you go. All you have to do is just keep us on your device, like us on Facebook, like us on any of the devices that you can. Aaron M. Sanchez, or again, KMET 1490 AM or KMET Radio. There's this. This is interesting. I know in some ways, I know people here on the West Coast did this when Fukushima actually kind of had the huge problem with the earthquake, and there was a huge amount of radiation that kind of came out and into the ocean. Iodine, and I've heard this before, and iodine's actually a really good thing to have on hand whenever you have a problem when it comes to radiation. And Jesse, you seem to know this really well. What do you know about iodine?
I know they have iodine tablets that you take to help lessen the effects of radiation. I'm just taking what I take from horror movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because there was a movie where they were, where were they? Actually, no, they went to visit Chernobyl and they were taking iodine tablets.
Yeah, I did the research once, and I said, okay, what does it do? But this is the situation. This is the headline. Putin's nuclear comments lead to rush for iodine in Central Europe. Like I said, Europe is, at least the people are smart. Okay, they're not dumb about this. They've been through World War I, they've been through World War II, and it's the people here in the home front of the U.S. which really have not been in the middle of a war. Does that make sense? We've been in the middle of a depression. That's where grandma might know that stuff, or great-great-grandma. But here in the home front, we just hear about these reports, right? We don't have to experience them. That's where Europe is kind of again, are you kidding me? Russia's invasion of Ukraine and Vladimir Putin's comments that Moscow's nuclear deterrent is on high alert have unleashed a wave of anxiety in Central Europe, with people rushing to buy iodine, which they believe may protect them from radiation. It's not a bad thing to have. If there is a nuclear bomb that goes off or any radiation, it's a good thing to help yourself out. Poland to Bulgaria, people living in the former Soviet-era satellite states have jammed passport offices, topped up their fuel tanks, and prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Again, not a bad idea. That's called preparation, right? Others inquired about joining the military. That's going to happen. What are you going to say, Jesse?
The fact that we have to be prepared for stuff like this is just crazy. It's absurd.
Well, it's so quick and fast. You're really, it was one thing to go watch a movie. There's a movie I want to watch. I think it's 19. What's the number on that? It came out recently, in the last few years. And they shot it in IMAX. It was really I have yet to see it. And then there was Midway, 1942.
Oh, Midway. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been wanting to watch those, but it's one thing to see it in a movie. It's another thing to experience it as it's happening. That's where we're at. It's one thing to play it in video games like Call of Duty. It's another thing to go, oh shoot, we're here. And that's where we're at. Nikolay Kostov, chair of the Pharmacies Union, said in the past 6 days, Bulgarian pharmacies have sold as much iodine as they sell for a year. Some pharmacies are already out of stock. We have ordered new quantities, but I'm afraid they will not last very long. Miroslava Stenkova, who is a representative of Dr. Max Pharmacies in the Czech Republic, said it's been a bit mad, where some stores had run out of iodine after demand soared. Iodine, taken as pills or syrup, is considered a way of protecting the body against conditions such as thyroid cancer in case of radioactive exposure. In 2011, go ahead, Jesse, what were you going to say?
No, I was like, okay, that makes sense. Okay, because to be honest, I really didn't realize why they were taking it in the movie, so they never really actually explained it.
Yeah,
they had it in their emergency packs.
Yes, exactly. It's good to carry around in the event of a disaster. In 2011, Japanese authorities recommended that people around the site of the damaged Fukushima nuclear power plant take iodine. And I remember people were buying it a lot. There were certain radio ads I remember hearing that are always worst case scenario. Every single person that has been prepared for a situation is prepared for this, and they're the ones that do that. Usually they're the ones, I forget what they consider themselves, but they're kind of survivalists. That's what they're called. Survivalists.
You talk about the preppers?
Preppers. There you go. Preppers too. Preppers are prepared for this sort of thing. They're going to be like, I told you. Okay, they're the ones that are 100% prepared, and they are not ready to share, just so you know, because they know how bad this can get, all right? Now, I'm going to put some balance on this, obviously. It's not that bad yet here in the U.S., but if you were in Europe, that would be a place where I'd say, no, start preparing for it 100%. Officials in the region have recognized the demand, but caution iodine is not necessary in the current situation and would not help in case of nuclear war. Actually, that's true and not true. If you're in the middle of the radio blast, you're going to be dead, all right? You're not even going to know what happened. You're going to be powder, right? We've seen that happen with Hiroshima, yeah? But if you're in the fallout area where you're going to have a lot of radiation hit you at a moment's notice, which usually takes about 3 to 4 hours depending on the wind conditions, if you are in the wind path of fallout, that's when you take it. That way you'll be ahead of it. It reduces your risk of really bad stuff with radiation. So that's the good news. What do you want to say, Jesse?
No, I just had a really inappropriate thought I'd rather not mention.
I almost want your, as long as you keep it G. Keep it PG.
No. I was just thinking, like, what's the blast radius on these bombs?
Oh,
like
that...
like the most powerful one that they have active right now. Like, what's the blast? I just want to know, like, because most likely they'll probably go for numbers, so they'll go for major cities.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They already took over Chernobyl, right? So they obviously don't care about cancer. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why are you walking around Chernobyl? They're putting their own soldiers in harm's way. Anybody that went through Chernobyl or is staying in Chernobyl, you should take iodine pills. But you probably already have high doses of radiation in you that you're going to have cancer within the next 3 years. Period, end of story. So that's the bad thing for the soldiers of Russia. Just so you know, Russia, yeah, might want to let your soldiers know that. But blast radius is dependent upon the latest, right? The newer bombs, they really don't have that information now. The bombs that used to make a big impact, usually, like, consider, okay, let's say we dropped one in Moreno Valley, right? What? Fine, here in LA. What city do you want, Jesse?
Anyway, where I'm not in the distance of the blast radius. I'm like, so you either have two options for myself. So it's either 1, get caught in the blast, or 2, the fallout. I'm like, which one's worse? Which one's worse?
Well, actually, fallout.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with fallout first. I'd rather just be.
Yeah, it's like being in the middle of a blast, but it's so quick and fast you're dead, right? The rest is slow and painful. And it's horrible for your skin. It's horrible for your teeth. They fall out. It's horrible for your eyes. Sometimes they kind of get a little droopy. It's bad, okay? If I had to pick one, I'd be like, take me out now, all right? But nobody wants to be taken out, obviously. What do you think of that? But back to radius, okay? Let's say one was dropped in Las Vegas, okay? That's far enough from us?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You're okay with Vegas being... Do you see? Come on, that's Vegas, man.
Let's imagine Vegas.
Look, as long as it's not here. See how we all are like, as long as it's away from me. Okay, anyway, if it happened in Vegas, depending on the wind, that would depend on where it would go, right? Now, if it happened in Vegas, more than likely, it would go east, not west, right? That's the normal as of right now. Go ahead.
There was actually a show I remember back, I think like 15 years ago, called Jericho. Have you heard of that one?
Yes, I had my mom watch it for the reason I said don't be like dumb people that say, no, we're fine. But go ahead. What about Jericho?
No, Jericho's a great, I thought it was a great show that just shows like what would happen if like a nuclear blast or bomb went off in a couple of places in the U.S. and what would happen. So it's pretty scary, but it's an interesting show.
Well, it's if you like this, like survival mode, and what would you do in the middle of it? There are moments in there. Even my mom goes, God, there's some dumb people. I said, yeah, don't be the dumb people, right? Use your thinking mind, do the right thing, and then group up with the right people. But don't group up with people that are like, no, man, it's gonna be fine, and those are people are gonna be dead, all right? But back to radius, okay? Let's say one happened here in LA, okay? Imagine in the middle of LA, where the skyscrapers are, the blast radius that would be impacted, that you would probably be toast, would be all the way to Moreno Valley.
Well, that's a pooper. Okay, so
did that give you scope?
It still boggles my mind why we invent these things.
But you wanted to know, so there you go.
I know. I wish that they would make bombs that just explode candy or sugar or something. Cause like, God.
Yeah, well, I mean, the afterlife. I guess you can get some of that there.
Wow. Okay, that's one way.
You're like, what happened to the candy? And God goes, here it is. I'm so sorry. But look, at the end of the day, that is the blast radius of the newer bombs, okay? People don't want to understand that. They don't want to accept it, but there it is, all right? That's why we don't want nuclear bombs dropped, even just one. It devastates a whole nation. When you see that, if you're in the area where there is no blast radius, then you want to determine where is the wind going to blow. Now, because we have the mountains help with that fallout, but they would still go up and over still based on certain weather patterns, okay? So if you had these iodine pills and you were in the fallout area, or this kind of went through you or around you, you'd want to go inside. You don't want to be outside. If it rains, it's even worse. That's known as black rain. And if you stay outside and you get that, and you get any part of that on your body, that's known as radiation rain. Okay, that is what you don't want. So basically, you want to stay inside for the next 3 days, 100%, cover every area with towels, make sure that that wind doesn't seep in, and hope that you have iodine pills at the ready. And if you do not, make sure to use the water, rinse yourself off every single day, because you do not want that on your skin, because it will hurt you long run. And then you might minimize certain features of cancer for another 8 years or so. But that's the worst case scenario after not being blasted in the middle of a blast radius. Do you understand?
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, that's why I say go with a vehicle that you can escape that, and then see a bomb for coming, and don't be in the area when it happens, right? That's one of those things that you just don't see coming. But if they go that level, then I guarantee you we're all going to be saying, you know what, just die. So there you go. That's what people are trying to avert, and that's what the world is trying to avert. That is what the UN is meeting about. That's what others are meeting about, because they know Russia can do that. With 6,000 plus nuclear warheads ready to go at a moment's notice, with North Korea going, we didn't vote against you, with China saying, can you do it after the Olympics? I mean, come on, China. All you had to say was, can you just not do it at all? Give them a timeline. God.
That's the biggest thing. They just said, they didn't even say stop, don't do it.
No!
But if you think about it, they're like, just hold up a couple of weeks.
Yeah, basically, yes. That's my point. It's like, come on. Seriously, they're already teaming up together to go against said everybody else around the world. And that's the thing. We're not alone. That's the good news of this war. We're not alone. The U.S. is not the only ones. I know it's going to be spun that way in Russia because of the sanctions, but the U.S. is not the only one saying this is wrong. You went against a peaceful people. All right, that's already, you can't spin that. You can spin it to yourselves, and that's what they've been doing. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, consider they made Switzerland, the one who says, no, we don't want any part of this. They made them say, you know what? Yeah, you guys are doing it wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. So that's the news of where it's kind of skewed. But remember, China's very large with 1 billion, I think 1.1 billion, I think. I could be wrong. They have a large army and a large amount of support there, right? Then you got India. India's kind of on the fence, as what I've seen lately. They kind of are like, I think somebody said that in social media yesterday or the day before. They said India seems to like Russia a lot. And in the latest news that I've seen, I'm kind of saying, yeah, I'm not going to be disagreeing with you right now, because I almost feel that you're right. Now, Modi has made certain alliances with Trump back in the day, which would put us as the U.S. in a way against China if the war erupted. Thankfully, the war didn't erupt when I said it could erupt in 2020 or early 2021. Thankfully, everybody focused on coronavirus and staying safe rather than doing this. But now that Russia's kind of been that front leader, the question is, do they rally around him and say, yeah, we'll support you against the rest of the world? I don't know. I don't know where the mind goes, oh, that's a smart idea when we're all dying already, right? So I don't understand that behavior. I really don't. I don't get it. So what do you want to say, Jesse? Go ahead.
Yeah, no. All these people with these nuclear, I don't like not having the ability to control my life.
Yeah.
So it's also politicians in general. I don't like people telling me how to live my life, and just in general. And I just can't see myself living in Russia and not being it. I'm pretty sure I'd be shot straight away.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you'd be shot too if we're start giving out news and stuff. But yeah, no, it's just I'm glad to be here and being able to at least disagree without people, trying to shoot us.
Well, speaking of disagree, I'm going to have to say this because, again, what is the deal with these? Okay, so here's what happened. This is a latest article. I just saw this. House passes resolution backing Ukraine, right? Now, we kind of knew that was coming, right? Obviously. 3 Republicans voted no. Even the majority of Republicans voted yes, but 3 voted no, Jesse.
What Republicans did?
That's my point. These are the ones I would watch very closely, right? I'd be like, are you kidding me? Out of all the ones, and remember, a good Republican amount of support, you're the 3 that didn't. Again, are you like China? Are you like North Korea? Are you like the ones that are like, I like Vladimir Putin? The only votes in opposition were from 3 Republicans. Representatives Paul Gosar from Arizona. Thomas Massie from Kentucky. And Matt Rosendale from Montana. Yep. Representative Adam Kinzinger said it was unreal that 3 fellow Republicans voted against the resolution. This is where you have bipartisan support, okay? This is the best bipartisan support you'll ever have, which says at least they're using their thinking mind, saying, no, we're going to help Ukraine out. We get it, all right? Republicans and Democrats and independents all agree, except for these 3. What do they have at their ready? You know?
Right? Those are currently the turds in the punch bowl.
Do they have real estate in Russia? Do they have, like, what's going on? The turds in...
Oh, you get it now. Yeah. So those are the only 3 that are floating that are just easy to pick out. But yeah, it just makes you wonder, like, what were they thinking? Why are you against it so much?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Gosar said, talk to me when our border is secure. Talk to you when your border is secure? How easy is it to secure your border? What do you think is happening around the world? How do you think it's going to impact us? This is a nuclear threat. When you say it's a nuclear threat, look, there are other wars that said there was a nuclear threat, but there wasn't a nuclear threat, all right? I'll go with that, all right? Kuwait, Saddam Hussein, all those, right? This is a nuclear threat. When there's a nuclear threat, what are you going to do? Back down and say, hey, man, let's do our border control system because we got that problem. Don't be that guy. That's dumb. Be smart. Seriously. Just say it. I want to be smart. There's only 3 of you. I mean, it's pretty easy. All right, people, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll see you tomorrow. Same place, same channel. Bye-bye, everyone. All right, we're going to go just a little bit longer here with the rest of you all here. But look, here's the reality, man. You got people that are obviously able to help out, and then when they vote like this and they're not, you got to scratch your head, especially Republicans. I'm glad Republicans are thinking this way, because even Republicans, and a lot of people thought, oh, Republicans wouldn't do the right thing. The answer is they did, and they are. So you can't hate on Republicans. Just because 3 said no, and they're very small-minded in this way, you got to understand long-term, okay? Long-term is this. These are the 3 that I would say I hold you highly suspicious. I would not want to be friends with these guys at all. I would say, what was it that you really, really, really want to vote no about? And why would you be all in favor of Russia bombing the hootenannies out of Ukraine? Because I guarantee you it's not going to stop there. Now, the thinking ones are saying, yeah, we know how big Russia is. We don't want them to have this long term, right? Because it's going to create problems, all right? Fallout is bad, all right? Fukushima was bad. That was an accident, okay? That was an accident because of the earthquake that happened in that area. That was an accident, yeah? And it hurt a lot of wildlife in the ocean. It hurt our seas. It is still in the ocean. Radiation is still in the ocean. We've had certain mutations of certain animals that we've been able to see. Some have actually even made landfall, and you go, what is that? Well, it's a mutation. That's what radiation does. But when you have a bomb being threatened against the rest of the world, that's not where we've ever wanted to be. In the 80s, we talked about disarmament. We talked about getting through the Cold War because we were in the middle of the Cold War. The Cold War was more espionage, cyber attack, and other things that it's kind of evolved into. Those things are still here. Don't think for a minute those things won't go down all of a sudden, right? They've already done several different attacks, and it usually comes from China and Russia. That's already been proven in the last 8 years or so, right? Certain banks have kind of had to go, oh, shoot, and other financial institutions have said, oh, shoot, because certain attacks have come from these areas. I remember one happening, I think, a year and a half ago, all of a sudden from certain areas, and it makes some news, but a lot of the people just don't pay attention to that. So when you understand that, then you go, okay, well, it is what it is. But in times of war, those are weaknesses that they've been able to exploit, and now they're going to test that again and again when they want to go next level. So they can actually blacken out an entire nation online. When Facebook, Instagram, and some others went down all of a sudden, if you guys kind of remember that, there was a huge attack on U.S. soil of the internet. Everybody was offline. And then about, I want to say 3 to 6 minutes later, there was a huge attack in a country. It was almost like we were being blackened off so we wouldn't know what was going to happen. So that still can and will happen when they get a hold of it, if that makes sense. So we have to be careful with what we do, people. And we have to say, okay, what are we going to do next? All right. Now, are you going to go and buy iodine pills? I don't know. Am I? Probably not. I don't have the time. But I will say this. Whatever you do to keep your family safe, do that, right? And if you have fun this weekend, have fun. Do so safely. Don't forget, it's not a war we're contending with we're contending with coronavirus. It's not over. It's not through. I know in the days ahead, we're going to see a mix of information. We're going to see the war, we're going to see coronavirus, and we're going to see financials. The financial part of people, you have to say, okay, do I have enough money to pay down any debt that is already there? All right. And if you have that, good. If you don't, well, don't worry. Again, the information coming pretty soon will probably be one to help out us as a people. Now, Biden did say they are going to go a whole 100% against the people that took advantage of the coronavirus funds, which we've reported on a few people have done. And if you took advantage of the funds and you spent, trust me, you're going to have to figure out a way to prove that you didn't do it wrong, because that's what they're going after next as well. That's what we talked about in this address. But for the people here in the area, and those of you that are still tuning in, like Yvette Green and Cynthia Salas and Rosalie, who says, I can't control my life here. Here's the reality. We're still going to be alive. We still got to do the right thing. We still got to stay alive. We still want our families to stay alive. So back to the home front, right? Is this going to affect us in the home front? I say in the next 3 days, yes. I think over the weekend, you're going to see a lot of things happen all of a sudden that you're going to say, oh no, I didn't know it was going to impact me and or my family. All right. I'll give you an example. Financials. Okay. IKEA was lately in the news. IKEA has a lot of shipments from Russia. Okay. There's a lot of backing that has always happened from Russia to here and back and forth. Okay. There's a lot of backing. Russia is an export country. All right. Period. End of story. So when they don't export certain things, or we don't export certain things to them, what do you think is going to happen financially? That's already going to have an impact on this portion of the world. Russia is huge. All right. Those that have visited Russia, I've had people visit Russia. I've had people go there and be there for a week or week and a half. They have friends there. This is not the thing you want to see. All right. Now, having said that, there's a lot of manufacturing that happens in Russia. There are a lot of things that if you go made in Russia and you look at it, you go, oh, wow, I have Russian stuff. I don't say throw out Russian stuff just because Vladimir and his top-level aides have helped him do this. I'm saying at the end of the day, the Russian people are still alive and well, and we want them alive and well, right? What you just want is a new guy to come in, take over, and then heal the people of Russia, right? Because the people of Russia don't want this war, I guarantee it. Those are being made to do it, yes, and the war guys and or girls that are Russian are going to do whatever their leader, O Supreme, says, just as those here on the home front would do for any now president, right? So that's going to happen. Now, on the home front, we're going to have a problem here. And when we go to full on-scale war, we're going to see the next level. And the next level is this. We need more people, all right? They already have a shortage. The reality is a lot of your sons, a lot of your daughters are going to want to sign up, as they already are in European countries, to help support this war. Now, that is a personal thing. But the reality is draft is a very big thing that nobody wants to hear, but we'll probably hear in the next 3 months. Because at the rate of, well, I'm just going to say it, at the rate of acceleration that this is having, it's going to hit a really bad situation in the next few months. Okay? We're not ready. All right? And I had a statement from somebody who was actually, well, he didn't want me to know it, but he did serve in war. He knows, and we said it. I said, what do you think is going to happen when they draft? He says, these kids aren't ready for that. They barely could be on their phones a little bit and have fun with that. They're not ready for war. They're not. Our kids are not ready. So the reality is, who are they going to go after? Obviously, they're going to re-enlist everybody that's been on the sidelines for a while. So some of you that have military families, you know you've already either gotten the call and or you already know somebody is going to be shipped out. That's where this is going. When that happens, that impacts the rest of everyone here in the U.S. because everybody now is going to want to support those going to war to support the areas surrounding Ukraine. Ukraine's not the only one they're going to invade. That's why Belarus is in on this. Belarus, Russia, and other ones that basically voted no when it came to the UN are going to go in the way of every single nation that ever does this. Well, we're going to swallow up every little nation that we can. And that's what they're going to do. That's why we're not ahead of this. That's why we have to get ahead of it, but we're not ahead of it. How do we get ahead of it? Honestly, the powers that be have to bomb the hootenanny out of Russia. North, west, and east. You do that, you show, hey, we see you. No longer will we be okay with this. If you do that, that's called offensive. That's an offensive move. Will they do that? No. Should they do that? Yes. If I were president, would I do it? Yes, 100%. You have to show strength, never weakness when it comes to Russia. You have to. It's the only way to go. But will people do this? No. No, they won't. They're waiting to see what happens with Ukraine, and that's the worst thing since sliced bread. That is what people will say going forward. What did we do? Where did we go wrong? Honestly, I would say Afghanistan was the first one. I said it here on the show. I said it, and I said it, and I said it, and I said he'll be made to look weak. And that's exactly what took off from that. And then it was said, and I've seen it in media as well. People have been saying it. Yep, he looks weak. Even Trump took advantage of that. So the reality next is you have to not push. You have to go frontal. All right. There have been presidents that have gone frontal in a big way against certain nations, and then they made a huge impact. All right. You may not like them. You may not agree with them. But when they go in military mode and they say, hey, we're not going to let this happen, that is called strength. You have to show strength to Russia. Everybody's showing weakness right now, and that's the problem. Everybody's cowering when they should stand up and use your ability to do what you need to do. I know. Some think, well, doesn't that push us more into war? No, it doesn't. And that's a sad fact. We're already at war. No one understands that. We're already at the beginnings of World War III, period, end of story. So you have to do what you got to do in order to say, no, we're not allowing this. What's next is the alliances form. When the alliances form, then you have a really big problem. When you have the alliances say, okay, we're going to team up against the rest of the world, then you have a huge, huge, huge situation. How many Asians do you think are in Ukraine? Yeah, I was surprised to see some news about that. And then I saw certain ones that are basically camping out and are bunkering down. And I said, wow, there's a lot of Asian there. All right. Probably a third, someone would guesstimate. I would say probably about an eighth of the people are Asian. Well, how many do we have here in the U.S.? What does that mean for when we do go to war? Are they going to be put into areas isolated away from others? What's going to happen next? That's the moment of impact that we have to be aware of. May very well happen. I know World War I, World War II, we saw those as movies, we saw those as documentaries, and now here we are with World War III. This is what many in the future are going to say, yeah, I remember when. I remember when. I remember when. All right? This is the part where usually kids go, I tune out, I don't want to listen, blah, 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 on their phones, right? Well, now they are the ones going to remember this for the years to come. This is the sad reality that we see ourselves in. And as Jesse said, and he said it off air, he says, I cannot believe this is happening now. And he's not wrong. with coronavirus, with financials, with other things that we're already having to deal with. Now this, yeah, it's a bad thing. All right. So here's the reality of where we go from here. If you understand Russia is going to take on the rest of the world, you understand that is why you have to push forward. Okay. I said something that some said, whoa, Las Vegas, right? It's funny how when you're not in the area of a blast or a hypothetical blast, you go, okay, I can deal with that because no one wants to be in the blast. Well, why do we need to even think that way? Oh, that's right. Nuclear. Yeah. Who said that? Russia. Now, whenever North Korea has ever flexed their arm about nuclear, what has the U.S. done? Usually they say, oh, rhetoric. Usually they say, all right, we'll pay attention. And usually they'll do something to combat it and then make sure he doesn't do it again. Well, now he's got an ally called Russia. When he has an ally called Russia, Russia says, yeah, okay, I can use your area. Sure, let me send you a few. Just don't bomb me. I see you. Because that's the way they're all going to act. They don't trust each other. No one trusts each other when you have nuclear. But you'll make an alliance to take over a country. Isn't that weird? How short-sightedness is that? Like, that's so short-sightedness. Seriously, I'm wondering if I should move to Africa. Anyway, my point is this. The reality is we need to stay strong. We need to stay united. And we need to stay a people that can actually do the right thing next. And here's what it is. Stay alive. Coronavirus is still real. Okay, that is the war you have to deal with now. Deal with that. Do you have to deal with this war? No. All right. Do you have to deal with the financial war of paying down debt that you currently may have the ability to do or may not have the ability to do? Here's what I say. Plan for the next 3 years. Okay. Because if coronavirus is gone, yay. If the war is gone, yay. If financials are back, yay. If things are back, 100%, yay. But here's the problem with war. When war is as big as it will be with this war takes a while to come back from it. Okay? You have army men, you have army women come back, and they are suffering in their mind, they're suffering in their body, they're suffering, okay? Usually, financials don't pick up for another 3 years after a war ends. Okay, so when is the war going to end? I hypothesize the next 3 to 6 months. I know people go, wouldn't it take longer than that? I say no. Sadly, no. No. Because there's the bombing happens so quick and fast. It's the troops that take a while to get from point A to point B in tanks or in gear and or in, trucks. But the wrath of war and the bombings and the missiles and all those that you've seen hit apartment units and higher skyscraper units, we're at a time where war is not what it used to be. It used to be slow. It used to be a little bit more calculated, but they're going the way that you always do whenever you take out an army. You take out their communications. That's what they did as of 3 days ago. They took out the television station that was broadcasting for the people of Ukraine. You take out that. Then you take out the capital. Kiev, which I announced earlier, them announcing they have a flag there, says they already took the capital over. Do you know what that does for morale of the people? It says basically they're here. So at the end of the day, the Ukraine people need to flee. And they need to go west. They need to go to Poland. In Poland, they'll have a chance, 100%. Because in Poland, they're already amassing all of the tanks, all the machinery, certain helicopters, certain other planes, certain fighters. That's going to be the new border against Russia. But Russia's going to amass in a way with Belarus. And Belarus is going to say, hey, you got my support, because that guy looks like the kind of guy that just wants to just get it all for himself. That's the guy that evidently went on and didn't realize he was on. He's that kind of guy. The kind of guy to kind of front all of the information because he cannot wait. You see that eagerness of his face? That's him. That's Belarus. Yeah. No one knew he was a sleeping guy. And here's my problem with that. This guy and his nation actually had the peace talks with Russia. Well, no wonder they were held in Belarus. That was seen as an off area. No, it wasn't that. People are going to say, why did you have peace talks at Belarus? You should have had it on Zoom. Yeah, seriously. You're going into territory where they're going to take you out. That's what that guy's all about. That's sad. So when you analyze that and you use your thinking mind, and you say, okay, I got to do what I got to do in order to keep my family safe, in order to keep our family safe, in order to keep each other safe. Do not forget coronavirus is the unseen enemy, all right? For those of you that like Trump, he's the one that actually coined that phrase way back when. He said it's the unseen enemy that we're having a war against, and that's 100% still true. It's evolved, it's mutated, it's taken on new friends of its own alliance in a way. It's taking on its own friends to combat our immune systems and such. That's why the ones coming out, OM1, OM2, OM3, OM4, and then the one from the area of France, which I think is M something, are going to be the problems of concern. So stay alive to fight those. Okay, that's still the war that we're fighting here on the home front. It's been brewing for quite some time, and it's evolving in a really quick, fast pace. Okay, even China understands that. China actually has lost a lot of deaths. They said, I think the news was more deaths than we have had here in the home front in the U.S. have accelerated, which is why they're going more on lockdown. Which is why I think, at least for now, President Xi actually just wants to kind of say, well, let's hold off just a bit. But he's watching, guaranteed, and he's wondering if he should go ahead and help support Russia. I don't think he's going to support U.S. I don't see that happening. Unless Biden gets ahead of it and he says, hey, China, can we work together again? You know, even working together again would say to China, you know what? I don't want to help Russia. Okay, he's in the financials mode. Period, end of story. Does he need more land? No. Does he have enough land? Yes. Does he want to really do it? No. But you got to start garnering China away from Russia, 100%. That's where Trump sold us down the river. Okay, period, end of story. And people feel it wasn't, but it is, and there you go. It just is. Even if you point back at, well, where did coronavirus start? It was going to start one way or the other. That's how viruses spread. They spread, right? It's going to happen. It's mutated in other countries. Did it originate from China? Well, at the end of the day, every virus goes from somewhere. Did it mutate from a animal and then to a human and then to an animal? Well, we have avian flu right now on the east side of the U.S. Where did avian flu come out from? Well, the question is, where did it originate? All viruses originate from somewhere on this world, right? So we're kind of past that. You can't keep blaming China for that. You got to say, all right, we got to get ahead of it. We got to have the research to do it. We got to be able to make sure we can be alive to tell the tale of when coronavirus was a thing, so that way kids of future generations don't say, you all made it up. We didn't make it up, because that's what this last generation did of past generations, right? You made it all up. You didn't make it all up. No. We're having to live through it, right? But that's how some people act. They act like little kids, sadly, but true. All right, people. So there you go. Be aware of it. Be aware of it as much as possible. Be ahead of it as much as possible. And know that as these things occur, you gotta stay safe. All right? Stay safe. Use your thinking mind. Know what to do, and then when to do it. All right? Then you'll be fine. All right, people. Make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.